love, one energy that is just holding everything in absolute harmony. Good morning and welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We welcome you and we thank you for joining us today for your spiritual enhancement. We're beginning a new series for the month of October, Power to the People. And our topic for today is Power Begins Within, a divine reservoir of love, wisdom, and power. For those of us who live in the Bay Area or in various parts of California, we may be accustomed, if you've been around for a while, accustomed to the power for the people as being, power to the people as being connected to the Black Panther movement that started in Oakland, California. Unfortunately, the media did a negative spin on the Black Panthers. And I'm not saying that everything they did was in the area of what we would call the right side of the law. However, what is overlooked is the good that they did for the community, for what they did for the children, what they did for people who are living without shelter, for what they did in the area of social justice. These are not the types of things that sell news. So we know that power to the people is a slogan that sometimes has a negative connotation. And yet when we look at it from a spiritual aspect, we know that the power to the people is that power that is within each and every one of us that we extend towards one another. And so we're going to break that down a little bit during our series this month. I want to begin with this quote by Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind textbook on page 70, paragraph 2. And this is what Holmes wrote. The slightest thought of intelligence sets power in motion through the law, producing a corresponding thing. Things may come, things may go, but creation goes on forever. So the power that we're talking about, this reclaiming our power or getting in tune with what our power is that aspect of creation that allows us to continue to evolve. I would also encourage you, if you have not picked up a copy of the September-October issue of the Science of Mind magazine, to please do so. We have a few here in the center. I especially love the month of October for the daily guides because the guides are expanded readings and writings and quotes of Ernest Holmes that are put together by Dr. Jesse Jennings. And Jesse Jennings is a longtime contributor and minister in this teaching. He is credited with compiling the Essential Earnest, which is one of the classes that we teach, and also his newest book, More Than We Seen. And he also writes the questions and answers column in the Science of Mind magazine, so some of you may be familiar with that. Dr. Jennings is probably one of the most prolific writers that I think sees into the wisdom of Ernest Holmes. And so the daily guides for October reflect a quote from Holmes and then Dr. Jesse Jennings' insights that he's sharing with us. So I really want to put in a plug for the magazine for this month for us to pick up a copy of that. I also want to say thank you for supporting Reverend Aikia, who was our guest speaker last week. She had an exciting time here with Monterey. Thank you for the love that you extended to her, and thank you for just being the love that you are. So today, power begins within, and we're looking at it as a divine reservoir of love, wisdom, and power. And this reminds us that power can be a triggering word. This trigger has an impact on each of us depending on our experiences with power. We can reduce those triggers by doing our inner work to create a clean relationship with our personal power. And one of the ways to do that is by going within to discover our beliefs around power, to engage in acknowledgement, forgiveness, and compassion for ourselves and others. And our spiritual practices are the tools that we have to use to begin healing our relationship with power. I want to share a personal reflection with you about my experience with power. Prior to coming into ministry, I worked in corporate setting, corporate America. Nice place to be, a nice place to be away from. Anyway, my vision of power for a long time was that power that came top down from the executive suite. And that power was not always a power of affirming. It was a power of beating one into submission to go with whatever the corporate plan was or whatever way the wind was blowing for that particular CEO or executive that was in charge in that moment. And so I always had this model of power as one of control and one of abuse, if you will, in certain ways. And so when someone would say to me that I was a powerful person, it didn't bring up a positive connotation in my mind. And I remember doing a workshop several years ago, and I was in my corporate position, I was in marketing. And so, I was fairly new to marketing and all excited about all of the various aspects of that. And there was I remember it was the first day of the retreat. There was a question that was posed for us to contemplate. And I don't remember now what I offered, but apparently what I offered changed the whole direction of the retreat. And so after the retreat was over, there were people that were coming up to me at the airport, and they were saying, you really used your power in a positive way. You shifted the energy of the retreat, and this is what we gained from this. And so as I began to contemplate on that and think about it from another aspect, and it was around the time that I was being introduced to the teachings and the principles of science of mind. So my attention and my intention was shifting. And so I began to embrace this new idea of power as something that could be positive. Power in terms of shared responsibilities, in terms of sharing ideas, in terms of welcoming input from others who are around, not coming forward as it's my way or the highway, which was the corporate model that I was previously accustomed to. So my healing has taken place in that area, and I continue to evolve in that particular area. Science of Mind invites us to begin our shift in realizing power is within each one of us by going within. And that's one of our buzzwords and one of our buzz phrases in Science of Mind, to go within. You hear go within, go within, go within, go within. It's also becoming a buzzword in other new thought modalities. And so you may ask, what does going within mean? And I can share with you what it means for me. For me, going within is a meditative experience where I allow my focus to shift from the external to the internal. And one of the experiences or one of the models that we offer to individuals who are just beginning in this experience of going within is to, and you may hear us say, close your eyes if you're comfortable, or lower your gaze. And I realize that for some people, closed eyes can bring up previous traumatic experiences that have happened in their lives. And so the other alternative is to lower the gaze. The whole idea is to create a safe space for yourself where you can be with that infinite that is within. And going within is a way of engaging in this process of self-awareness and self-discovery. Some may call it prayer, some may call it contemplation, chanting, or other experiences that offer stillness and quiet reflection. This is the key to going within, is to be in that place of stillness where you can engage in quiet reflection and actually listen to that still small voice within. Going within allows us to do our own inner work for preparation for our outer experiences. And we can use this as an opportunity to examine our beliefs and our behaviors regarding life. And we can create the goal or the intention to develop a healthy balance in every segment of our life, including our experience of power. Our intentional and consistent spiritual practices, and I talk a lot about spiritual practices. So it's the intentional and consistent spiritual practices, the tools that we use to support our inner work, provides us with the means to connect to our deeper selves and access our higher wisdom. This allows us to lay a solid foundation for what it is we are to express in a clean, authentic, and compassionate manner and engage with the world. Now, there are three aspects that I want us to look at this morning of power. The first aspect is truth. The second aspect is forgiveness. And the third aspect is clean power or clean energy. We'll talk about that. Power begins by recognizing that the truth heals, it hurts, and it reveals. Not necessarily in that order. Sometimes it hurts first, but out of that hurt, out of that pain comes a revelation. And this is essential to realize that power itself is neutral. Our beliefs and our experiences color our understanding of power. A little bit of humor for you. There was a wise Zen master who was visiting New York City. And he goes up to a hot dog vendor and says, "Make me one with everything." And so the vendor fixes a hot dog and hands it to the Zen master. The Zen master pays him with a $20 bill. The vendor takes the bill, puts it in the cash drawer, and closes it. The Zen master is standing there, and finally he says, "My change." And the vendor responds, "Change must come from within." And so that can be a segue to the teachings and the statements of truth by Emma Curtis Hopkins. Emma says, "Truth heals. It can be an uncomfortable process as power can be a triggering word for many of us. Embracing truth offers profound insights into our inner workings by shedding light on our triggers and acknowledging the power that has affected us." And so going within and listening to the truth and the truth revealing, this is where our triggers are touched. This is where, we may have people in our lives that trigger us. Guess what? We installed the trigger and gave them the opportunity. We gave them the button to push, but we installed the trigger. So this is an opportunity as we're learning truth about ourselves to replace those negative charges with positive charges. Embarking on this journey of self-awareness, we must confront our current beliefs and experiences with power. And now, before you tune me out, I know in the metaphysical world, once you say you must do something, it's an automatic turnoff, because in this teaching and in this philosophy, nobody is going to tell me what to do, how to think, how to show up. I am an independent being. But I ask you to just listen this morning and to see the word must as an action that is necessary and essential to healing prior experiences with the misuse of power. So the must in this case is an invitation rather than a command. Self-awareness is the first courageous and transformative step towards healing our relationship with power, and it paves the way for transformation and liberation. It allows us to recognize our fears, our insecurities, our traumas that have distorted our perceptions of power. And we also take responsibility for how we misuse or deny our power. Through acknowledgement, we learn to embrace forgiveness. And forgiveness is a catalyst for healing and plays an indispensable role in transforming our relationship with power. Mahatma Gandhi says this: forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. And in our Science of Mind textbook on page 17, Ernest Holmes wrote this: there must be a recognition that the power of the word, operating as the truth of reality of being, can do all things. Through forgiveness, we release the grip of painful memories that have left a deep imprint on our psyche. We liberate ourselves from the chains of resentment and anger, including when power is misused or when we have felt disempowered. I believe what Holmes is offering to us here is that in forgiving ourselves, we free up the emotional energy that has been channeled in a negative direction, and we shift that into a positive direction. And our dear Connie has been reminding us recently to be mindful of the words that we use. Be mindful of the words that we use. And of course, as we are bombarded with what a dear teacher calls weapons of mass distraction, from the news media, from conversations, from sometimes music, all the different places that it comes from, it's an opportunity for us to acknowledge and harness and extend mega loads of compassion to ourselves, allowing room for growth and self-revelation. I want to share with you an experience of forgiveness. And it took me a long time to get to this. You know, sometimes I describe my memory as that of an elephant, and an elephant is identified as one that does not forget things. So, you know, and I must admit, I have selective memory, and then I have actual memory. And sometimes those two blend in together, and sometimes they're at odds with each other. It's like the waves coming in and crashing up against the seashore. But there have been individuals in my life that I've been holding resentment against for what they did to me. And I've done a lot of forgiveness work around that, various practices. You know, one that was probably the most impactful was getting a picture of the individual and placing that picture on a chair in front of you and just unloading. You know, no filters whatever in what you're saying. Just say everything that you wanted to say to that person but could not say to their face or were afraid to say to their face. That was a very cathartic activity for me. And yet it still didn't erase the slate of resentment that I was holding. And then through my own evolution, through my own reading and studying and going within and engaging my spiritual principles, one day I had an aha, and that was the common denominator in this resentment is me. It's like the expression, wherever I go, there I am. So when I came to the realization that it was me that had not only installed the button, but given them the permission to press that resentment key, I reclaimed my power. I reclaimed my power. And I shifted from looking at what they had done to looking at what is my responsibility in the experience that I am having. And that was a major shift for me. And I offer that to you as an idea to begin to think about those areas where there may be some angst between you and another individual or an organization or some aspect of culture or society, to ask the question, what is my role in this experience that I am having? And if the experience is not what you desire, then we can change it. That's the beauty of our teachings. We can change our thinking. Change your thinking, change your mind. Change your thinking, change your life. And I believe that this is what provides the way for us to share those past layers of conditioning. Forgiveness is a powerful bridge between our past and our present, and we learn to respond to current circumstances with our higher selves. Forgiveness allows us to shift to the third point this morning, which is clean power. We hear much talk about shifting to clean power that doesn't pollute our world. And the question is, can we apply this same idea to our relationships with our own personal power? Alice Walker, novelist, writer, poet, and social activist, says this: the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. And we may have come through experiences where we have been beaten down so much into submission that we may think we don't have power, but we do have the power. We have the power to use one word: no. No is a complete word. And I know sometimes in corporate there was a joke that we passed around when we said no. It's like, what part of no do you not understand, the N or the O? No is a very powerful word that we can use to ourselves. I know in some traditions, they say the devil is a liar. The devil is a lie. That means no, this experience is not going to take place in my life. We can say that same thing. And as we experience this no, as we delve more into our relationship with power and forgiveness, clean power is a shift in perspective that opens the door to empowering a transformative force. And we can ask ourselves these questions. What new thought or idea do I want to have power with? Do I want to have with power? As I'm saying no to a negative thought, what new thought am I willing to embrace that opens the door for me to have a different relationship with power? How would clean power look in my life? How would it look for me to have that power of the Spirit within me, that one power that Daniel Nahmod talked about in our musical offering this morning? The power of love, the power of beauty, the power of joy, the power of relationship. How would it express itself through me? What tools do I have within me? What tools have I not yet identified that will allow me to express this power in a positive manner? What qualities would I identify about myself to know that this power is present? And how might clean power create a space of safety, authenticity, and compassion for myself and for everyone else? And I believe this is the goal that we're all aiming for, is to live in that space of safety and compassion and unconditional love for ourselves and for everyone around us. Introspection paves the way for our healing and liberates us from the burdens of the past and enables us to respond again from our high self, from our higher selves, that place where we know, as the song says, I am the place where God shows up. This is our high self. And so in wrapping this up this morning, I invite us to embrace our new relationship with power. We can do this through a heightened awareness of recognizing the safer we are with ourselves and with our power, the safer we are with others. When I am feeling good about myself, yesterday, one of my neighbors had a lot of trees cleared away, and it has opened up. My apartment has a less filtered view of the bay. I have a much more expansive view of the bay from my apartment. It's like, I woke up this morning, well, last night I saw the fog, kind of resting over the water. And then a little bit later I looked out and I could see the lights that were, the fog had lifted high enough so that the lights could come through. This morning I opened the window and there was this big expansive view of the bay. And it's funny in this human experience, I'll speak for myself. There are times where I'm not satisfied with what I have. It's like one neighbor, the neighbor that's right in front of me, if that tree was trimmed, then I would have a totally unfiltered view of the bay. So I have to continually remind myself, appreciate what you have now. Appreciate what you have now, because the more I appreciate what I have now, the more I appreciate what is coming into my life. By continuing to do our inner work, we observe our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions as they relate to power. We notice the triggers or limitations that arise, and we heal our relationship with those triggers. And we install new response potential that changes our shift. Free of past beliefs, we empower ourselves to reclaim a new, clean relationship with power, the one power that connects us all. And this final quote this morning is from Martha Beck, sociologist, coach, and New York Times bestselling author. And she writes this in the book, The Way of Integrity. As you find your truth and you go back inward and you cleanse out everything that's conflicted in your life, you begin to always live in harmony with yourself. You find peace that has always been your home address. And so this is what we're looking for, that peace that has always been our home address. Let us say together now our affirmation for the week. I go within to connect with my source of power. Let's say that again. I go within to connect with my source of power. And I invite us now to pray together. And if you're willing, I invite you to allow your eyes to close or your gaze to soften. And know with me that there is one power. There is one source for good. There is this one energy that is in back of all things. And it is operating for the highest and best of everyone that is involved. This is the energy, this is the power, this is the source that lives itself through me. And as it lives itself through me, it lives itself through each and every being. That which is animate and that which we describe as inanimate. And it is from this source of being, this source of creation, that all things are made new. All things are made new in mind, a new thought, a new idea, a new energy, a new expression, a new way of showing up in the world. And so I speak my word this morning for that peace within that allows me to bear witness to those weapons of mass distraction. And to say, as the old practitioners described as saying, tain't so. Tain't so. This is not my experience. This is not what I choose to embrace in my life. And so in reclaiming my power, I choose to live as the grace of God. I choose to be the place where God shows up. I choose to use my power to create safety, express compassion, and to live in a place where everyone feels empowered and safe and loved. And as I speak my word of healing for myself, I speak this word also for the healing of our country, for the healing of our planet. Wherever there is discord, wherever there is unrest, I know that peace is just at the other side of that coin. So in my own mind's eye, I flip the coin from discord to peace. And I invite you, if you're willing to do the same, flip the coin in your mind's eye, flip the coin in consciousness, evolving into peace and joy, and a place where everyone is experiencing their highest and best right where they are. This is a world that works for everyone. This is the world that I see. This is the world that I embrace. This is the world that I call forward right here and right now, in my experience and in the experience of all. I speak my word for the healing of the physical body, the healing of the mind, the healing of the emotions, the healing of conditions that each one is experiencing. Knowing that there are conditions, there are experiences that call for a timeout, call for us to go within, to experience the emotional drama and trauma that is coming up for that experience, knowing that it is coming up to be healed. I speak my word for those who are going through transitions in life. Perhaps a loved one has stepped off of this mortal plane into immortality and has joined the ancestors and now is living in a non-local expression of their highest being, knowing that each time we think of that individual, it is an expression of eternal life. And as the challenges shift to good times, good experiences, good memories, we experience the clean air, if you will, of a new experience, a new relationship. I speak my word this morning for places where individuals are gathering in the name and nature of the one life, the one love, and the one power, recognizing that there are kernels of truth in each teaching. And so we connect with those kernels of truth, acknowledging that this is where we are alike. And as we travel this road together, we travel embracing those kernels of truth where we are in communion, in partnership, and in fellowship, in consciousness with all beings in all places at all times. And for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. And I release this word, I release this prayer, I release this treatment back into that law, which always says yes. And I know it is done and it is complete. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, I invite you to say with me, and so it is, and so it is. It is now time for us to participate in the law of circulation, better known as offering time. I want to thank you for the ways that you continue to support the spiritual community. And through your donations, we are a donation-based organization. Through your donations, you allow us to bring our Sunday morning experience to you via Zoom, via our Facebook page, and via our YouTube channel. And so I invite you, if you're viewing via, if you're here in the center, I have a challenge. I have a challenge to our Monterey members, and I'm going to get to the offering. I'm not going to forget offering, okay? But I have a challenge that I want to throw out to those of you who are part of our Monterey family, whether you are a member, whether you're a friend, whether you're a first-time guest, first-time viewer, you're a part of the family. And so the challenge is to go to our Facebook page, like, comment, and share, and also go to our YouTube page, like, comment, and share. It is through the likes and the sharing, those clicks, that make a difference in how well our message is extended out to the larger community. So I'm putting the challenge out to our Monterey family. This is one of the ways that we spread the word, through our own individual relationships and connections. And so now let us say together our affirmation of abundance. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so on our screen are the ways that you may donate to the center by mail to 400 West Franklin Street, Monterey, California, 93940. You may text to give, and that number is 831-246-9694. You may also donate online. Our electronic donations are safe and secure through our vendor, which is Breeze. And our website is montereycsl.org/donate. And while you're on the website, if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, please subscribe to the newsletter. There are a couple of things that I want to bring to our attention in terms of our community engagement. We're still participating in the 100 days of mindful practice. It's not too late to join the text. You get a text message every morning, and I listened to the message this morning, and it was from our neighbor right up the road a piece in Santa Cruz. Reverend Elisha Christopher was the one who offered the affirmative meditation this morning, and it was quite powerful, as have all of the other speakers been. So we invite you to engage in that. And also a reminder of the Infinite Possibilities Workshop. We had some challenges in getting started, and so we've delayed the start to this Tuesday, October the 8th, and we'll meet for 3 Tuesdays, October the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. The Infinite Possibilities Organization requests that we have a minimum of 6 people to participate in the program, because the richness is in the sharing and the ideas that is brought forth through the materials. We have 2 that are signed up, so that means we need 4 more to get the minimum of 6. There are sign-up sheets here in the center for those of you who are here and would like to sign up. For those of you who are viewing, send an email to me, reverendrobert08@gmail.com, indicating that you would like to register for the class, and I will send you the Zoom link. We are using a different Zoom link from the church's Zoom. We're using a different Zoom room for that. Question, Chelsea? The cost of the class is $125. If you previously took the class, then we're offering it for $65. So thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. There's information in our newsletter and on our website about that. So I want to thank you for participating in that. And to our viewing community, to our family, to our friends at Facebook and YouTube, we say again, thank you for choosing Monterey as your place for spiritual enrichment this morning. And we invite you to join us next week as we continue our October series, Power to the People. Our topic is our personal power. So we say thank you and good morning.